Hey guys, this is Hassan with Media Unlock Tech, and today we will be fixing an Apple iPhone 5s and we will be replacing the LCD. This should be a pretty easy repair for beginners, and I will be as descriptive as possible. And we do sell those screens on our Amazon, and there will be a link at the end of our video. Feel free to click and get one. And to start off, make sure our phone is powered off. Now, the tools that we're gonna need, of course, the pentalobe for the bottom screws. You need a fine point Phillips head, and these are the same ones as you will use on a glasses repair. And flathead. You can use a prying tool, a guitar pick, or one of these plastic ones. Either one will work. I like this one personally, but if you don't have it in hand, you can simply use anything that has a plastic tip or something a little edgy. Suction cup. You will see on some of the videos, people use suction cup to remove the screens. When the screen is cracked, this actually does not work. Feel free to use it if you can pull it off, but I'll be using this tool for that. And of course, pair of tweezers. It's always good to have it handy because you'll be dealing with a lot of little screws. Now let's get our pentalobe screwdriver. First off, we're gonna be removing these two screws on the bottom of the iPhone. And as you take it apart, you can just put them side by side so you don't lose the screws and you know exactly where they go. After you remove those two screws, like I said, you can use your guitar pick or one of these tools or a plastic prying tool. Either one will work out. The best spot to lift the screen up is right where the headphone jack is. So you can just kind of go in between the frame and the LCD. Just kind of pry slightly and then gently pop it out. You don't want to go too far in so you don't hurt any other cables inside. Just kind of wedge it. And if you have a broken screen like this, what's going to happen is the actual glass will separate from the LCD. If that's the case, you can just kind of go underneath over here. Just pop it all together. And unlike the other iPhone 5 or the 5C, the 5S, since it has a fingerprint scanner, so the home button will have a flex cable attached to the phone. So you're not supposed to lift it any more than that at first. You'll have to unplug the cable that goes on the home button, and that's right there. So you can use this tool or any screwdriver, that's fine. We're just gonna go underneath this plate right here, kind of go underneath and pop it out. And let's put that aside so we don't lose it. And as you can already see, it already came undone. It should be plugged in right there. You can just unplug it. Now it's safe to open up the screen. But there's still a connectors over here. There will be 3 connectors. You don't want to pop the screen any more than 90-degree angle, but it's safe to hold it like that. First off, let's remove the battery cable, not the battery itself, but just to unplug the battery. So there will be 2 screws over here. Easier way to do it, just remove this screw and loosen this one up and slide the plate over so you can unplug the battery. So let's start with this one on the bottom, and you're going to be using your Phillips head. And the one on top, you can just kind of loosen a little bit, just enough, so you can slide your plate over. And here's the battery cable. You can use your fingers to unplug that. You can use a plastic tool, guitar pick, either one will work out. Just be gentle with it. Just pop it out. Now the battery is unplugged. The next step, to remove the LCD from the phone, there's going to be 4 screws holding down the LCD and digitizer connectors. Let's take those out. And these are going to be different size screws. So when you're taking them apart, it's safe to put them in the places to a point that where you know exactly where they go. So what I do is I kind of put them in the same lineup on the table. That way when I'm putting them back, I know where they go. So this is the one on the bottom left, right there. This is the one on the bottom right. Here's the top left. And the last one on the right corner. Okay, now we have removed 4 screws from that plate, and we're just gonna, you can hold your fingers or tweezer, whatever works for you. Just get the plate out. What I do is, for first timers, just kind of put the plate next to screws, and you can just put them right where the holes are. That way you know exactly where they go. Alright, the next step is we're gonna be removing the 3 connectors. And this one is for the front camera and proximity sensor. Second one is for the LCD, and the third one is going to be for the digitizer. You can use your fingernails or a plastic tool for prying. Just be gentle and get underneath the connector to pop it out. Here's the front camera, LCD, and the digitizer. Now we separate the screen from the actual phone. And what we're gonna need is the new screen. In the beginning of the video, I said you can buy this from our store on Amazon, and we ensure we sell a good quality product, and we'll help you out as much as we can with the issues or if you have any questions for the repairs. And now the next step is we will be installing the speaker, front camera, fingerprint scanner for the home button, and the back plate from this one to the new LCD. First off, we're going to start with the earpiece speaker, and we are going to need our Phillips tool. There's 2 screws holding it down, one on the bottom, one on top, and they are different size screws. So be sure to put them on the right spots when you put them back together. The bottom one, let's take it out. Here's the top one. And if you notice, 2 screws are going to be different sizes. The one on top is going to be slim and a little bit longer comparing to the bottom. And now we can safely remove our metal plate that holds the earpiece speaker down. And to do that, you can either pry it from the corner, or you can get over here. If you have a flathead screwdriver, you can just kind of get underneath here, just pry it out, and the metal plate comes off with the speaker. And here's the actual earpiece speaker. Now we're gonna pry out front camera and the proximity sensor. There will be a little bit of adhesive underneath here, so just to be safe, gently pry it from here. And the camera pops out, and this little gold piece also attached to the rubber gasket, you can just pry that out as well. And the rest of the camera is taped to the back of the LCD, the metal plate. But you don't necessarily have to remove that, since we are going to take this whole part and install it on the new screen. So you can just leave it as it is. And now we're going to remove the back plate, and there will be 6 screws that are holding it down. 4 on the sides, 1 on top here, and 1 on the bottom right there. Let's start with the side screws. Let's continue on the other side. There's 2 more, which they are the same exact size, all 4 of them. So you can put them next to each other. And the next one is the top screw, right where the front camera is. Let's get that out. This is gonna be a slightly different size, so make sure you separate that. You can put all 4 of them together, one on top here, one on the bottom on the other side. That way when you're putting it back together, you know where they go. And here's the one on the bottom, right where the fingerprint scanner cable is, by the home button. Let's get that out as well. And this screw doesn't actually come out. You just loosen it up and it will stay attached to the home button flex cable. So it should be just like that. And you can leave it as it will not fall out. Just be gentle with it. And after that, now we can safely remove our back plate. Since we removed all those screws, the back plate should be free. Alright, now let's get this back plate out. You can pry it from here or on the bottom, doesn't really matter. Just make sure nothing else is attached. So that's how it should look like. And like I said, you don't have to remove the camera. You can just leave it attached to it. We'll be putting it back just as it is. Let's put that aside. Next step, you will remove the metal plate for the home button that keeps it down. And there's 2 screws right there. And those are going to be Phillips head. Let's get those out. Here's the second one. And the plate should just come right out. So remember, this plate, if you put it in backwards, your home button will not click properly. And that's a big problem. You will have to reopen the whole thing and redo it. So remember, make sure to put it the right way. We'll go in just like that. Let's put that aside. Now your home button, the flex cable should be free. You can pry it right from here. There will be a little bit of adhesive underneath. And they should pop out pretty easily. You can just kind of get underneath. Don't just pull the cable. Just get underneath, pry it out gently. And as far as the home button itself, you can just push it from the front of the screen. And that's how it should look. And depending on your screen, if your screen doesn't come with one of these camera retainers, this plastic, clear plastic right here, let's get that out so I can show you. This one. You're gonna have to pop it from the old screen and put it on the new one. And same as for the little box over here that goes in front of the proximity sensor. You don't have to have these, but it's good to have them. It'll keep the camera lined up with the actual lens and the proximity sensor. It will work a lot better. So remember to have these and install them on the other screen. And as far as this screen, we are pretty much done with this one. We removed all the parts. We don't need anything else from this, so you can set this aside. And with the new screen, before we install it, I'll recommend just to do a quick test, just to make sure everything is good to go on the screen before you put all the parts in it. Like I said, we do test each and every screen before we ship it out if you decide to buy it from us on Amazon. But it's still safe to do so. What you have to do is hold your thumb over here so you don't bend the cable. And we're gonna plug the digitizer first. Just kind of line it up with the connectors. And gently push it down. And next one, the LCD cable. Same thing, line it up. And then push it down gentle. Just keep the LCD in a 90-degree angle so you don't damage the cable itself. Now we're gonna plug the battery back in so we can test our screen. Should be right here. Now the battery is plugged in. We can set the LCD down and let's see if it powers on. So it's going to take a couple seconds for it to turn on. We're going to check the touch on it, see if everything is working. It's taking a little longer, but I'm trying to be as descriptive as possible for you guys so there's nothing left out. And once you're finished, everything should be right with this. All right, the phone is powered on. You're just going to slide in, see if everything is working. All right, the touch is working, screen LCD looks good. Now we're gonna power it back off. Now we know that our screen is actually good to go. We're gonna install the rest of the parts back onto LCD. First thing, unplug the battery. You can use your finger, prying tool, whichever works for you. And same thing with the connectors for the LCD and the digitizer. Unplug those gentle. Here's the other one. Okay. Before we put the back plate on there, you're gonna have to remove this sticker. Just peel it from right on the bottom. You can just hold it from here. It should be just this piece. Don't pull out anything else. Just this red part. Just peel it off. And first thing, we're gonna install the metal back plate, front camera, and the proximity sensor back on the LCD. If you're having a hard time putting it back in there, you can just kind of get your finger in between this over here, just kind of open it up slightly so it'll go in. Make sure these holes line up so it doesn't slide like that. Just line them up, and then you can put one or two side screws. And there's 4 of them. Remember, they are all same size. Just gonna start on the side ones. It's the first one. Let's get to the other side. There's 2 more here. They go on the sides. We have 1 screw that goes on top. That will hold down the metal plate back of the LCD. There will be one over here, but that is attached to our home button flex cable, so we'll get to it in a minute. Now let's put our front camera back in place. Remember, we took these out. Here's the plastic piece for the camera retainer. What it does, it just keeps the camera lens in place, so it's not going to be crooked when you install it. The way it goes, it's just like that. And here's a little box. It keeps the proximity sensor in place. And this little block over here is the proximity sensor. And we'll set it like that. And the way it goes on, there will be a little hot glue on the top part, and the bottom part is going to be metal. So the metal comes towards the bottom of the LCD. Just kind of set it in there. First thing, you're going to put this gold piece back in this hole. This one goes in here. It should look like this. And now, camera goes there, proximity sensor goes in here, and this little guy will go right there. And you see two holes on the cable, and those will line up with these two plastic pieces. Just lay it down. Everything kind of sits in place once you just gently lay down, and that should be in place pretty good. The next step, we're gonna install our earpiece speaker. The way that it goes down, there will be 4 springs that makes a contact with these 4 circle gold places. And this part of the speaker should line up over here. So we'll take that out, just set it like this. And since this piece has little springs on it, it kind of bounces back. So you can hold it down with your finger or get the metal plate. The way the metal plate goes, this part towards the bottom. So it's going to sit on it just like that. It's easier if you put this part first down and then clamp it towards right. This goes underneath the camera right here. And the other side, you can just push it down. And now another thing I noticed, this little part right there, it's kind of like a clip. You can just kind of push it towards the speaker. And now we are ready to install our 2 screws back on the speaker. Remember, the long one goes on top. And the short one on the bottom. And it's always good to double check to see if your front camera is actually lined up with the lens. And in this case, it looks pretty good. And if it's a little crooked, you can always go back, loosen the screw up, and then just kind of adjust that little round piece that we put in there to get a better lineup. Okay, now we are ready to install our home button in the flex cable. The way it goes, it's going to be just like that. Just set it in there. And we're gonna install our metal plate back on the home button. Remember, it goes like this. And we're gonna install our 2 Phillips screws back in place. Okay, let's put these screws back on. Just snug enough. Now, this cable, we're gonna fold it like this. And one important thing over here, there's a little metal piece, this guy right here. As you put the screw on, that one will spin with the screw. And I noticed if you just kind of set it down, you want this piece to stay over here. You don't want it to spin around with the screw. So just kind of hold that in place and screw it down gentle, and make sure this one stays over here. So that's how it should look like once you install it. Alright, now we have all our parts back on the screen. As far as the speaker, front camera, back plate, and the home button assembly, now we are ready to install it back on the frame. And we're gonna start with these three cables. One of them, the first one is gonna be the digitizer. It goes right on top. And when you plug in these in, just make sure to line it up with the connectors and gently push them down. You don't want to damage the connectors on the logic board. The next one is going to be the LCD connector. And the third one is going to be the front camera and the proximity sensor. This one is a little bit being difficult, but we got it there. So that's how it's going to look like once you plug them all. The next step is to put the plate back on there. And remember the order you took the screws off. And there will be 4 of them. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom ones. And here's another one for the top. And the very last one goes on the right top corner. And that's how it's going to look like once you install all the screws back on there. The next step is to plug in the battery cable. We go ahead, connect that, and slide the plate over. If you remember, we just loosened this one up and removed the screw. So let's go ahead and put that screw back on there. And retighten the other screw. And this part is not hard, but it's a little tricky. Where you have to plug in the home button cable, this plug goes right in there. Some people use tweezers, some people use fingers. I actually like to use my fingers on this one. So the way I go with it, I just kind of hold it like this. And then I'm just going to line it up. It's hard to show it to you guys too. You just line it up with the connector. And press it down. Once you press it down, you're going to hear a tiny click. Now you know it's on there. You want to keep your screen at this angle so you don't pull the cable and you have just enough space to get underneath. And after you plug in that, and here's the next one, you're going to be putting on top of the plug. So the plug won't just back out itself. And the way it goes on is going to be like this. So what I usually do, you can use tweezers or fingers. I'm just going to set it right on top of the cable. And I'm just going to go over it with my finger. And I clip it on there. And that was it. It just clips right on. Very simple. That's how it looks like. And after that, when you're about to close it, this cable will just want to naturally fold into the right side. But you want it to be on the folded to the left side. Just like that. So this is how the cable should look like when you close it. Now we got the cable right, we're gonna go on top. This part has the clips. Let's go ahead, put those in first underneath the frame and start from top and work your way towards the bottom. Now our screen is all the way back on there. And now you can go ahead, put your screws back on the bottom. Now we can power it back on to see if everything is working. It'll take a second for it. And we'll test out the screen just to make sure again if the digitizer and the LCD everything is working good. Hopefully you'll be done. Alright, phone is back on. Let's check the LCD. Touch seems to work just fine. We can slide our camera up and down just to make sure it's good all the way around. Awesome, we did another one. So as you guys see, it's a very easy repair, and you can buy the screens from our Amazon store, and there is going to be a really good price on them, and we make sure they are really good quality. And thanks for watching.
Hi guys, I'm David with Media Unlocked Tech, and as you have seen, we just finished doing an iPhone repair, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit, let you guys know that we have partnered up or an affiliate of iScreen Direct. And so we thought it would be cool to make these videos for you guys, but then have the actual screen that we use, the company's screen that we use. We kind of partnered up with them. And so there's a link, as you guys probably see right now. You can actually click this link right now, and you'll be able to go over to Amazon and purchase these screens so that when you're doing your repair, you're actually using the same screen, same brand screen that we use for these repairs. So hopefully that helps you guys out, of course. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments, you can leave them down below or send us a message here on YouTube. We appreciate it, and thanks for stopping in.